Hey cycling community, this is Steve Brusis the Cycling Greek with another episode of A Tale of Two Races. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about where we are right now with the Kingsburg Criterium. You'll notice I got the Cycling Greek magic board behind me. Last week, I went to the Kingsburg City Council meeting to make a presentation about the bike race. Now, I just didn't go in there cold. I did a lot of pre-work. The first thing I had to do was find the right people to talk to and talk to them. Fortunately, I had a teammate who was very good friends with the Kingsburg mayor. I got in contact with her, had a good phone conversation, sent her some stuff related to the race. By the time I got to the meeting, she was well versed and she had talked up the bike race to the others. The presentation went well. Because of that pre-work, there were a lot of questions coming my way. In fact, there was one person, an older gentleman on the city council, that said, yeah, just like you said, it's like NASCAR on bicycles. And you get some really huge crashes out there. So I didn't say anything to that. I thought, okay, that's good, that's good. And then he went on to say, yeah, you can get 1,000 people out there watching. And that's where I had to dial it back a bit because I don't want to promise anything that I can't deliver. I said, well, maybe it's going to be more like 500, depending on the number of racers that come out. After the questions were done, the mayor then tasked the city manager to get together with me to start this whole process off. That's where we are now. The meeting is going to happen on Monday, September 17th. I'm going to be talking about basically what's behind me. At that meeting is going to be the city manager and whoever he deems appropriate. Hopefully the mayor is going to be there. I obviously will be there. And a former teammate of mine who is a resident of Kingsburg, who has been helping me out with this, will also be there. The items that we're going to be discussing. Kingsburg Race Day expectations. So with the number of people that are going to show up, I believe there's going to be 1.5 to 2 times the number of racers that are going to be there. They're not going to be there the whole day. Some of them are going to be leaving early. A lot of them I think are going to stay the whole day. How many racers do I expect out there? Budget-wise, when I'm doing my budgeting, I'm going to put down 200 racers. What I think is going to show up is going to be closer to 300. It's quite conceivable that I'll get as many as 500 depending on scheduling considerations that are happening in Southern and Northern California. In Southern California, it's pretty open. They've opened that date up for us. But in Northern California, there's a couple competing races. Second, usage of local vendors. Wherever I can, I'm going to go local. So that'll be in road closures and road closure services, graphic artwork, because you don't want me doing any artwork. Relative to local vendors will be hotels. So they could be anywhere between 0 to 2 nights stay per person. Usually with these bigger events, especially since Kingsburg is the day before the ARC race, the Michelob Ultra Sequoia Cycling Classic. I'm hoping, especially because of the atmosphere, the small town, Swedish town atmosphere, and some of those hotels look pretty cool, I've got to tell you. Now I'm hoping that we get at least one, obviously, but hopefully get 2 race days out of each racer that's coming here. The last one is that 50% of the net proceeds from this event is going to go to a local 501c3, and we're going to be talking about that in a bit too. Next item is the race course. The race course is going to be a figure 8, and the start finish. The reason I chose this is because of this section right here. The start finish is going to be right about here, so that will be start finish, and this whole section here has 3 or 4 restaurants, a gift shop, and a bakery. I think the bakery may be over here. But being a Saturday event, these businesses are going to be open. See, if you're in an office park or industrial park setting, there's not going to be any restaurants around, especially on Sundays. And even if in your downtown setting, I've been to downtown Sunday crits and looking around for something to eat, and there's restaurants there, but they're all closed. But this is Saturday, they're open. And the bakery, got to have a bakery at a race. People are going to be taken care of. And because all these people are going to be here, now we're going into the next item, obligations to Kingsburg. First obligation that I have for my race, of the 2 obligations. The first one is safety. The second one is the bottom line for me. But the first one is safety, and so that's going to mean the various course marshals that you're going to have there. Make sure that you don't have junior high kids, that you're going to have adults, people that are going to pay attention, not look at their phones. The other thing is going to be fencing. We're going to have fencing here to hopefully here, here, and here. The direction of the course, what I didn't tell you before, is it's going to be going in this direction. fencing, we're going to have obviously gaps in there, and with the gaps we're going to have course marshals there. The next thing is insurance. Whenever you do a permit for USAC, you get insurance with it. And it's at a certain level, and it's a good level. I've never had an entity tell me I want more. But there is an extended package, and so they may require that. So that'll cost me like $400 to $500 more. So it all depends on what they say. The other obligation, again, is the 501c3. Half the proceeds, half the net, is going over to that 501c3. Next item, important item, deadlines. There's a lot of little deadlines that happen along the way. Got to keep the project line going, but the main deadline is 2 months to go. That's when the permit has to be submitted to USAC. And to be able to submit that permit to USAC, you have to have the race flyer. One part of that race flyer is defining the prize list. That prize list is going to be dependent on the total amount of sponsorship I receive. If you see a low prize list on there, then I didn't receive as much sponsorship as I thought I'd get. With the fencing, if you see metal fencing, because that presentation is going to be real important, especially for future sponsorship, then you know I've done well with sponsorship. If you see the orange plastic fencing that we get free from our local race district, then you know sponsorship did not go that well. And the last time we're going to talk about are the local charities. I'm going to ask him for suggestions on local charities I should approach. The criteria I'm going to use in choosing a 501c3 are: 1, can they supply day of labor, mostly course marshals? 2, are they willing to be an active participant in the race committee? 3, do they have the ability to attract significant sponsorship? There's more. With the race flyer, again, it's based on how much money I have in my bank account, not obligations. If a person with, let's say, 2 months, 1 week says, I can pay you $5,000 for sponsorship in 1 month, I'm not going to count that money when I make up my flyer, because it's not in my hand. If you're a business, you can write out a check to Steve Grusis Race Promotions for sponsorship, and you'll be able to write it off on your taxes. If you're an individual, you're not going to be able to write that off. If you write it with 501c3, then you can write it off. A lot of businesses, depending on how much money they have in certain parts of their budget, they may not want to write it to Steve Grusis Race Promotions. They don't even know me. They may feel more comfortable writing it to the 501c3. If that money's sitting in the 501c3 and it's not sitting in my bank account, I can't count it because I don't have control of it. Bottom line with this race is it's all based on my bank account. I'm the one that can lose money. No one else can lose money. So the question is, how can I get that money into my bank account? 501c3s are limited because of their laws that they have to adhere. They can't just write me a check and say, okay, this guy gave me $5,000 for sponsorship, here's a check for $5,000. Can't do that. One of the ways is I'd have to invoice them for a service, but most of them are at the race or after the race. So I will still invoice because I know they're going to pay it. You know, we have a long-term relationship. But what about these new 501c3s? I've been in the position before where I worked with another entity, honorable entity, and I got that first check for them, but when I needed more money for more bills that were coming up because all the money was going to them and not to me, no more checks from them. It was a lesson learned. So this is it's still going to take some trust, but this is all going to be part of the interview process that's going to be happening with each of the 501c3s. I hope you found this interesting. Comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.